Hey, what's going on, guys? I am so excited to finally announce episode 1 of this YouTube channel where I get to travel the country, interview athletes and entrepreneurs, tell their stories, and get inside their minds. Today's episode is going to be focused on a local businessman and a dear friend of mine, KB, Mr. Kenneth Boggs. He does custom suits for athletes, entrepreneurs, and celebrities all around the country. The dude's super plugged in. He doesn't only just do these custom suits, but he's also involved in multiple business ventures as well as a lot of philanthropy work. The guy is insanely humble, so I get to do some of the bragging for him. You're going to find that out here in the video a little bit more, his background, particularly around his story of growing up in Section 8 housing, definitely less than ideal circumstances, and how he was able to pull himself out just basically through mental fortitude, right? A lot of this channel is going to be focused on individuals, their obstacles and challenges, and how they're able to overcome those things to get to where they're at today, and how he was able to become a very successful businessman. Again, you don't want to miss the entirety of this video. How these videos are going to be structured here on out is I'm going to be able to travel, meet with these individuals, hear their stories, and really highlight their art, what makes them great. You're going to see some great video on those introductions, what they do, and then on the back end of it, we're going to be able to hold a podcast style interview. So make sure you stay tuned for this entire thing, and I'm excited to get started. All right, we're here for the very first episode. Can't wait to get started. We got my guy KB right here. He's gonna help me out, get fitted for a new suit, and start asking some questions. So let's see how we go. My guy. What's up, bro? How you doing? Man, looking good, brother. Fine, man. We just want to say thanks so much for letting us come crash your day, come check out your office. I just think it's super important. Like, you and I have both built such fabulous networks like over the last couple of years. I think it's just time now where we can start to give back, like help people understand how we got to where we're at. You know, what are some like the loopholes we had to get through. You know what I'm saying? Like the people we had to meet, obstacles overcome, stuff like that. So I wanted to show them a little bit about you today, showcase you, get an idea of what it looks like, I guess the process of your art, you know, what goes into getting the suit, the fittings and all that stuff, and then hop over here and get inside your mind a little bit. What you think?
Oh man, sound good, man.
Cool, bro. Yeah, check it out. What is it, swatches?
Yes.
So is there a strategy of like what you put up front versus like in the back and like these books and all that?
So first things first, what I like to do is I like to ask questions.
Sure.
What's your background? Where you from? Because as I'm asking those questions, first things pop in my head is like, I'm going to create your own story. So I love storytelling, right? So what's in your closet? What colors you have now, so we won't duplicate that, right?
Sure.
So we're gonna create something totally different for you, so you can be an outlier. So for me, it's like, love putting you in like something like tweed, right?
Right.
Okay, because your bone structure, how this is gonna lay on your body really well.
This does look really good on me. I'm not even gonna lie. If you want to take a look at this, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So I did forget to mention, I do have a Kenneth Boggs custom on me right now, as well as the shoe company that you started. Yes. We'll dive into that. So I got on the Cafaro customs for me right now. Yep. And then I've gone through a couple different jackets, and like, just like you said, I can't agree more. I think the tweed just like, it falls so nice.
Exactly.
I think it looks really good. So awesome, man. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, and so like what I like to do from there is to literally educate you. I want you to be a suit enthusiast by the time you leave here, right? Just have some kind of education behind that. Because I live by a certain code. Obviously down in Utah Valley, they have ABC, which means always be closing.
Right.
In my world, I have ABCD, which is appearance, behavior, communication, digital footprint, right?
Nice.
So most of us, we have, business that went digital, right? Currency is digital, right? So making sure that you look good online, that's very, very important, because that showcases good marketing and storytelling, right? So one of the things that I like to focus on is the shoe game too, because everything's the foundation. Like as you build a house, start from the bottom on up, right?
Sure.
So I like to correspond the buttons with the shoes. Okay?
Oh, nice. Okay.
So as you can see, like, oh hey, he has nice brown, he has, you know, the full ensemble, the whole 9 yards. I don't want you to look like you're getting something off the rack.
Right, okay? For sure, for sure.
So even with the cut, I like to do peak lapels, right? As you can
I was going to say that because I've seen a lot where it's like that. Is it like a notch, right? Where it's like off to the side. Like, why do you do it? Because I don't think you have a single suit that does that.
Yeah. So I don't like to do peak. I don't like to do notch, right? Peak lapel, right? Like I said, it looks like it come in like a V12.
Ooh,
okay. They're gonna come in with some power, right?
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
So you want to, like, the goal is to make sure you look apart.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
For sure.
I don't want you to look like, oh, hey, it's a guy just in a suit. Like, no, like, hey, that's a guy in a nice bespoke suit.
Yes.
Makes sense?
Yeah, I love that.
And so the reason why I call my suit company Kenneth Boggs Custom is for a reason, right? Because in business, you want a name, not a title.
Okay.
Right? Okay, people remember you by your name.
Right.
And when my clients are in their suits, they don't get cute or sexy. They get, hey, you look handsome, right?
Right.
But Kenneth literally means handsome.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So we got Mr. Handsome Boggs
you
here.
too. So nice thing about it, every single one of my clients is a Kenneth.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So it's an extension of, like, hey, you just didn't get the fabric, but you're representing, the name, the look, the whole 9 yards, right?
That's really cool, yeah.
Pretty sure when your wife saw you, like, oh, dang, that's a different look.
Yeah, that's right, man. And then you got these on, right? So is this like you specific, like for your suit, or like is that for like clients or?
So yeah. So this is my signature.
Okay.
It's a lapel pin. So usually you see people wearing it on, let's say, TV shows. Or
this morning I saw it there's a sports show that I saw, and there's a gentleman wearing that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so 9 times out of 10,
you.
Or 10 times out of 10 I made it.
Okay.
Or some people try to take my style, get the lapel pin,
Sure.
but you can tell, like,
sure,
KB made it or not.
Wow, nice. So, okay. Yeah. Nice. What else should people be looking at, like, to spot like a suit? I remember you told me something about like these threads and like how the button comes undone, because off the rack that's like glued on. You can't unbutton that, right? So
So a great question. So suits are made in 4 different ways. You have full canvas, half canvas, fused, and unstructured, right? So what does that mean? So as you can see on you right now, right? This suit right here is actually full canvas.
Okay.
So that's wool and horsehair between the lining and the fabric. So it drapes on your body really well.
Nice, okay.
If you ever seen some guys wear a suit and it pops off their chest like this, that means that there's no structure to it, right? It's just a fused suit. Okay. And it's just glued on. It's easy to make. So it's a cheaper type suit, right?
Got it, okay.
Therefore, the reason why you can't undo them from buying anything off the rack is because it's glued. Right?
Oh, okay.
So functional buttons, okay? So if you're wearing cufflinks or you have a certain watch or whatever the case may be, you can undo it, go right through it, tie on, and the whole 9 yards. So
I can't have this snag on my suit, so you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's cool. And then you said, so this is the full canvas, and then structured, unstructured. Because I think you said something like, even like with my shoulders, right? Like how it's different with like the padding and all that.
Yeah. Because like your bone structure, right? Because like that's the most important thing. Most guys stay away from suits because they don't like the way they look. But if you get a custom suit, it will fit your bone structure.
Right.
So we take out the old school style of like having that pad, right? Look like you got shoulder pads. Yeah. And as you can see on your suit, it's a natural roll. It just falls right down.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So that's what we like to focus on.
I think I like that a lot, right? Because it's like, I even saw in the back, like it just really gives like that super aesthetic. It's like, dude, like I know I'm not the best looking dude, right? But it's like, but I work hard in the gym, you know what I mean? Like you really work on like that V taper.
Exactly.
And the struggle would be like if I go to buy a suit, like it'll fit my shoulders, but then it's like kind of boxy, and then like the waist is massive, so I get like a smaller pant, right? Right. And so like with these custom suits, it really helps. Like someone says, if you buy a Lamborghini, you're not going to keep it in the garage. Like you're going to go take it out, right? Exactly. It's the same thing with a suit, you know? You want to be able to like show that off.
Same thing. It's like, if you buy a Lamborghini, you're not going to put regular gas in it too, right?
No.
Okay, then you better put the nice thing, you better put the right thing in there.
That's right.
The next thing is like, it's a lifestyle, right? Once you get something like this, you get it. It's called an outfit for a reason. You're out and you fit. Doesn't mean you have to have the 6-pack, or doesn't mean, as long as you're fit, right? Mentally, physically, financially, wherever the case may be, right? Especially education. So the full thing is to showcase a Renaissance man and a Renaissance woman. Okay. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So explain that for anybody who might be watching, like, because not a lot of people like really appreciate the Renaissance era, like this Renaissance men, Renaissance women. Like, so explain to us, like, what are key things that we could be doing? Like, when you think of those kind of people, like, what are you thinking?
So first thing I'll think about is the first book you should buy is a passport. Okay.
Ooh,
you should buy your passport.
Nice.
Travel. Okay. Find information. Be there instead of you should go search instead of research.
Okay.
So get the real information, right? So be well-rounded. Because I believe culture is to the human what water is to the fish. Okay. So you want to be well-rounded as a man and a woman. Okay?
For sure.
Right. And then you have great scholars out there who talk about these kind of experience by traveling and reading those great books. Like one of my favorite books is Malcolm Gladwell, David vs. Goliath.
Okay.
It talks about your disadvantage being your advantage.
Nice.
Right. And that's something I literally implemented in my life. But reading, traveling, being a people's person.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
very
so
important.
True.
Right.
Man.
Another thing is, for me, I love doing philanthropy work.
Sure.
So that's one of my things as a Renaissance man, because all my brothers and sisters in this world, black, white, don't matter. We're all one family, right?
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So phil means love, anthro means human or humanity, right? So that's what you get from philanthropy.
Love humanity.
You gotta love humanity in order to do philanthropy work, right?
That's awesome.
So yeah, and it's about helping out your fellow friends and just being well-rounded. So man or woman for the Renaissance man and Renaissance woman.
Dude, I love that. I love that. Sweet. So if we were to look at more fabrics for me, I know you said you love tweed, right?
Yes.
And I got a couple of these bad boys. I don't think I got that one yet.
Not yet.
I think you put that out for a reason today.
I did. Right.
So if you were to suit me up, knowing what you know, right? You said you would ask questions.
Yeah.
Do you just is there an art in your sales process where you just lay it out and you just zip it? Mm-hmm. You let them just go crazy with their eyes, or do you direct them?
I like to direct them because most people will gravitate to blue, right?
For sure. Why is that?
Because think about it.
I think more than half of mine are blue.
Exactly.
Yeah. So why is that?
The sky is blue, right?
Yeah.
If you ask somebody why the sky is blue, they'll say the ocean. Absolutely not. But no, blue is the fastest color in the color spectrum.
Okay.
Right? So you look at how things are in space and stuff like that. We gravitate naturally to blue, right?
Oh, okay.
So I want to take you out of that and put you in some. If it is blue, let's do something with a pattern.
Right. Oh,
right?
Yes, bro. Even look at this. I don't know if you can zoom in on this detail, my guy. There's something about if you're getting a suit, if it's a one color. Yeah. You gotta get something that pops, right?
Absolutely. Because
you can't get a solid without any pattern, because that's like you're saying, you don't want any of your stuff to be associated with anything off the rack.
No, absolutely not. Because if some guys try to come in here hey, KB, I want to get a black suit, right? I'm like,
go hit that guy down the road.
You can go down the street, get that off the rack, right? But if you come here with me, let's do something dope. If it is black, let's get texture to go with it. So knowing how you like things, to show a little case of some of your personality,
sure,
right? So
I love that personality, boy.
Yeah, so I like to gravitate you more into the red zone, maroon zone, or the forest green, right? Okay. Which is really, really great. So obviously, I know you love this, but I would love to put you in that one right there.
This one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And so nice thing about it, I like to educate my guys.
Sure.
Okay. About the wool, right? You got 50% wool, 50% linen.
Okay.
Right? So summertime, you got that linen feel, so you won't be burning up as much, right?
Oh, nice. And
so one of the things I like to do as well, I do like to showcase, for example, let me show you.
Because I'm from Arizona, right, originally. I'm here in Utah now, but same thing. My problem in Arizona was I could never wear a suit in the summer, right? And I worked at the bank, so it was man, how I'm professional. I looked in a bank, to either not be wearing a suit or be wearing a suit and sweating. Right. Me with a client, right? It's are you nervous or are you hot?
And that's one of the things, right? So when you have a nice, fine wool suit, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, for example.
Oh, please don't.
As I light this up. When you have a nice wool suit, it likes to burn itself out. Okay? If you have fabric like polyester, it will burn up like no other.
Wow,
you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the beauty of having nice fabric, nice, beautiful wool. And then when you come to linen, when it's hot outside, you're good. light on the body and stuff like that. So there's a science behind fabric, not just, you know, when I look at Rock Canyon, I don't look at it as rocks no more. I see the art.
There you go. Nice. I love that. Yeah. Because that was one thing that I was like curious about. I was like, man, if I'm gonna get this wool, or sorry, the tweed. Yeah. I've always kind of like assimilated that with like a heavier, like thicker. Right. And so I was like, man, I don't know, KB. Like I know you want to put me in this tweed.
Right.
It's not like a grandpa style. Is it gonna be like heavy or it's hot?
Yeah.
But man, like you're right. You killed this. So if you were to do that suit, what kind of like what buttons would you go, right? Or like lining? So that's the other thing is I don't think we got to talk about this yet, but my boy likes his linings.
Did we do them like that?
Right? So it's like, what if you were to do something like this for me in that? Yeah, it's like a burnt orange. Like, what would you call that color? I don't even know. That's a really dope color.
I call it reddish.
Okay, reddish. That works for me. Yeah. So like buttons, shoes, shirts, because that's the other thing, right? You got me a couple of different shirts. We even have like that preacher style, where there's like no like real collar, a little lower, turtlenecks, obviously. So like, what would you want to cater around this if we were to like put together an event?
Okay, right off the back, I'll just ask like, if it is an event, what kind of event, right? Are you the host or are you?
I'm hosting.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna make sure you are that guy.
We gotta be that guy.
You know what I mean? So first things first, I'm like, okay, what shoes are you gonna wear? Going back to the very first thing I said, foundation. What are you wearing? If you're wearing loafers, cool. We're gonna wear something far as like buttons wise to literally correspond with the shoe. Okay. So we're gonna do a bourbon, right?
Nice.
Bourbon buttons to match the shoes. That's like a bourbon type of look right there right now.
So these would look nice. And so would you have a shoe that you would recommend for like that color or like that style?
Man, I love a loafer with that.
Loafers are clean.
Yeah. The nice thing about that particular suit, that's actually 5 suits in one.
How's that?
Because you can switch it up, right? Sports coat, right? Like, okay, hey, I'm not gonna wear the full suit. That's 5, right? 2, 4. I'm gonna wear blue pants. I'm gonna wear khaki pants. I can wear gray. I can wear black.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Very, very versatile. So that's a good thing about having a custom suit. You can literally like interchange so many dope styles, whatever.
That's so true. Yeah, I love that. I even like looking at some of these gold that you got on. I think that would look real. Clean
oh my gosh. Yeah. If we doing guys directly like Eric, we putting gold on.
You got him. Man. I think that's a given.
Yeah, that's.
I think this might be if we're going that tweed route with the red. Come on.
Hey, I call that right there the Super Bowl suit right there.
That's right. We just went to the Super Bowl. We just did that for another gentleman. Lee Steinberg, man. That's right. That's fantastic.
And just being there and like, you know, you, myself, your wife, my wife having a good time. Then the DMs you get from wearing something like this.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
It's crazy. Because you think we're around tons of different athletes at that event. A lot of heavy hitters, right? Yeah. But we're walking around and I feel like more people were stopping us than they were stopping the athletes. They're like, let me get a picture with you. I don't know you, but you look good.
Right.
I want to get that. Like, who's your guy? It's like,
for sure,
I'm the guy, right? Like that's. Because I think that's the thing is like you're a walking billboard. Everyone's a Kenneth. Everyone's a Handsome. Like,
everyone.
I love that. That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, this is super cool. I gotta ask you now. If you were to, I know you probably got the majority of these.
Mm-hmm. I got.
What's your next move on this? I know you got to have a couple of books in the back. You're not showing me.
No, I'm not. I do. Yeah, they're. It's the big boy stuff.
That's right, man. Nice.
The pencils coming in, right? I'm like, okay, because like most guys are like, hey, I want to make sure I have things that nobody else has.
Sure.
Like, say no more, right?
Sure.
So there's different kind of styles because I have over 2,000 fabrics.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, we can find something for you. If you coming in with the right mindset. So for me, it's like me personally, I have 115 suits now in my closet. I had more, but my wife was like
consolidate.
Yeah. My wife was like, we gotta build a house. I was like, we're doing that now. So
that's awesome, man. So the last thing I want to do, I guess, in this room is, unless you had more that you wanted to speak on regarding the fabrics and patterns, I just want to show like what's a typical fitting look like and the time involved.
Absolutely.
So we can go through that if you're down.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Sweet, man. Do you need a jacket on or off?
You can take it off.
Okay.
Money, as always.
What do you usually measure to? Is it like to the bone, or where you want it to sit?
Yeah, to the bone.
Okay.
So I call it bad to the bone.
Right.
So right there, because like when you have your sports coat on, you want to have at least like a quarter, or most guys like half an inch, but conservative guys like quarter. But when you have the half an inch, showcase like your name right here and everything in that nature.
Right.
So
yeah, that was pretty sweet. Did you get that? So we got like little accents like that. That's pretty sick.
Yeah,
I like that.
And so on top of that, it's like when we have a spread collar, right? We have a nice collar on, it's spread, sits, because I like to have the collar be stiff.
Sure.
Okay? So it just sits on you really nice. It's not one of those collars that looks like you're gonna just do an alley-oop.
Yeah.
It's just draped, you know what I mean? Just dripping so low, right?
Yes.
So let me have you throw this on real quick. 3, 2.
Thank you.
Nice. I got you.
Thanks.
Solid, my man.
Yeah, that's nice where it has like that little bit coming out. Because that was the problem, right? Is like oftentimes to get a shirt that would like fit the neck, or a shirt that fit the shoulders, that and the other, the sleeves would be so long.
Right.
So like then I've got like the whole cuff hanging out of the sleeve.
Yeah. Look kind of suspect.
Yeah, exactly.
And so as you can see here, right when we button this up, just lays on you really, really nice. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
As you can turn here, like I said, there's no extra roll up here, right? And it's just everything's just like nice, flat, and clean, right?
Gotcha.
Face this way. So as we do these little measurements real quick. Boom, hit it every time.
Nice, okay.
On point like an arrow.
Hey, no complaints.
Like a pharaoh.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, man. And so like that's the goal. Is like we make sure we get something that's conducive for your lifestyle, conducive for your bone structure.
Okay.
And make sure you bespoke after that.
Because I've noticed you also do like these different pockets. Like each one, like even so yours, you got these ones same, and some of those like that. I've seen a couple where you have like the double, right?
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah. So like when we get into pockets, right? It's all about preference.
So you can literally customize everything.
Every single thing.
Every little thing. Nothing about it is like the same.
No.
Dang.
Yeah, because like when you see this is initially supposed to be like, hey, it's supposed to be a dinner jacket.
Sure.
But I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna create my own story. I want the full thing.
Why not?
All right, so I'm gonna design myself the full thing, right?
That's floor seeds right there. That's what this one's called.
Yeah. And the nice thing about it, so I have the patch pocket for a reason.
Okay.
Because it's actually supposed to be a sports coat.
Right. Okay.
Right? Dinner jacket. So when I want to switch it up, and I'm like, hey, I'm about to just wear the pants, I'm still good to go.
There you go, man.
So even with this, right?
Yeah.
So now you can switch up with the gray, the white, the blue pants.
This goes hard with the cream pants, my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Cool, man. Well, thank you. I hope this was super helpful for everybody to understand suits and whatnot. So if you are ever in the market for a suit, man, it's time to stop hitting the rack. Right?
Yeah.
It's time to go custom.
Absolutely.
So, Katie, you got one last little outro for why somebody would shop with you opposed to anybody else?
Shopping with me would definitely change your life, change your perspective, change your outlook on clothing. I like to focus on what you had before to what you have now, to give you more of the aesthetics of a gentleman. Right, and also showcase to be a gentleman warrior. So
nice.
It's a lot to go with it.
No, it's true, man. I think it's changed me the way that the outlook I've had on clothing, and not so much the clothing, but his appearance. I didn't realize that appearance was so important. Like after I started getting in the customs, I started taking closer attention to my nails and cuticles, right? Like everything, even like my neck. I gotta like to have a nice beard, but it's like keep the neck, the cheeks clean, right?
Absolutely.
So awesome, man. I really appreciate you. Everyone who's sticking around, we got the podcast section next. We're going to really dive into the mental, the business, the obstacles, things of that nature. So KB, appreciate you, brother. This is nice.
No problem,
like you, man.
Hey, no problem.
Welcome, everybody. My name's Eric McNeil, and I am here with probably one of the most talented gentlemen here in Utah. Many know him as Mr. Kenneth Boggs, but to those close to him, this is my boy KB. KB, thanks so much for having us. as you can see from up here, he does the custom suits, and then that's for people who do know of him. Like I said, but in his close circle, we understand savvy businessman, philanthropist, and a great friend. So KB, thanks so much, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man, I grew up in California. Grew up with 7 siblings in Section 8 housing with a single mother. Came out to Utah on a track and field scholarship. Ran hurdles at Utah Valley University. Graduated in criminal justice. Ended up doing a complete 180. Obviously, I'm in the fashion world now. Yeah. I was thinking about going to BYU Law School, but I was like, you know what? I feel that entrepreneur spirit in my blood, so I was like, I'm gonna test this out and go from there.
Because that is such a change, right? Like you're saying, from your background, then to get into criminal justice, about to go to law school, and you're like, no, I want to do suits. Yeah. What happened in there? Because that's like a drastic change. That almost feels like you were chasing something that sounded good, but then eventually it turned into, what am I passionate about? Is that what happened?
Yeah. It was just something that I found that was in my blood. Like a few years ago, I was watching an interview with my great-great-great-grandmother. She was talking about what her, like her childhood, her dad, talking about this whole story about her pops that I never met, obviously. Mm-hmm. He grew up in the South. He got into a situation with some Klansmen down in the South. They were trying to try to kill him, the whole 9 yards. So he ran out of town. Right, he didn't want to go back home to find, so that they can see where, his family lived and everything of that nature. Sure. And the way that he used to send messages to my great-great-great-grandmother was through clothes. He was a tailor.
Oh, no way.
So come to find out, recreation of you is having a kid, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that was just something that was just in my blood, in conjunction with Motown music.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, we've chatted a lot about that. Mm-hmm. How did that align?
So my grandfather, to be exact, obviously who's married to my grandmother, he's a musician. He's a preacher. I used to always listen to Motown music, like from The Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, and all those guys. So when I used to look at these guys, I used to highly revere them. I'm like, wow, these guys look so amazing in suits, right? Even though my grandmother, she always taught me how to sew when I was 12, like I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. So as I'm sewing, the music is playing and I'm watching them, and this was just something that I was like, wow, I caught on to it pretty quick. So I put in my 10,000 hours in pretty early.
Yeah, right? It sounds like it. Holy cow.
So it was a passion of mine that I went back to as a kid, yeah.
That's incredible, man. Because like I said, right, you're going through school.
Right.
And you finished up, you said, and then you're getting ready to go to BYU Law.
Yeah.
Did you attend, or at what point, when did you think this ain't for me, this is for the birds, like what you said,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
When did that change? Were you already doing some suits in college? When did you pick it up for your own endeavor?
Because for me, back at home, my family was like, hey, KB, go find yourself, a good school to go to, and go find yourself a good job, right? I get out here in Utah, they're like, no, you go to school and work for yourself. It's like, wait, what? And entrepreneurship is so big out here in Utah Valley, right? So big. When I took the LSAT, even in criminal justice, I realized, I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm somebody that wear my heart,
sure,
on my sleeve.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a special person to live, to live that kind of life and to work in that kind of environment. And I realized, I'm like, I don't think that's for me,
Yeah.
So entrepreneurship ended up coming to me because I was asking my counterparts on my track team, hey, how do you own a home? We're 21, 22 years old. How you doing that, right? They're doing these summer sales and coming back, buying homes, getting married, right? Because I'll be honest with you, the biggest culture shock for me when I moved to Utah, it wasn't me seeing white folks, right? I've seen white folks before. I saw them, when I was a kid in elementary school, so obviously you exist.
Yeah.
But for me, it was when I saw a father with his son and people were married. That was a culture shock for me. but the entrepreneurship, seeing how they had, the best way I can explain it, just how the spiritual freedom they had was the economic freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And so I was like, wow, this is really cool. This is something I want to embark upon and break that generational curse from my background.
Dang, yeah. And so you were telling me, because your whole family's in California, and you came out here, and you never left.
No.
What happened?
No.
What happened? Why'd you stay? Because your suit business, like, because you suit up celebrities, athletes, entertainers all across the country.
Exactly.
Why? And again, not overstepping. Like, you do well for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you could really live anywhere you want.
I can, right.
Why is Utah home? Why did you never leave?
Oh, great question, man. Great question. I just saw how the family structure was out here. I didn't see this anywhere else, right? My grandfather, when I was 12, he asked me, he was like, hey, do you know what family means? I was like, yeah, you know, blood thicker than water. He was like, absolutely not. He was like, family means forget about me, I love you. Ooh. So when I was here, I saw how people were so family oriented. That was something that hit me. I was like, wow, I actually like this, because this is a place where I ended up growing as a man, and I learned a lot, right? Especially mentorship, right? Very important, right? The reason I want to bring up mentorship, to be exact, because that's like a extended family member.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Someone who will invest in you because they see your tenacity, they see your talent, right?
Yep.
I was taught the difference between poverty consciousness and wealth consciousness through a mentor, right? This is the cool part of having a mentor.
Right.
He was like, hey man, you should invest in this, check out stocks and invest in this and see how this goes. I didn't know anything about stocks. I'm a kid from Section 8.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, what the heck is this? This is gambling.
Yeah.
Whatever this means, right? So the amount of money I put in, I end up making, a good amount.
Sure.
Right? I put in $100,000, then I end up seeing $300,000.
Oh, nice.
Right?
That's a little better than just okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So check this out. So me, I'm a kid from the neighborhood, so I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm calling my mentor. I'm like, hey, can we do lunch soon and can we talk? He's like, for sure, yeah. And I'm telling him, I was like, hey, this is where things went for this stock. I'm about to cash out and go buy my mom something beautiful, and I'm gonna be good, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, KB, he gave me an ultimatum. He's like, KB, that would be great. Get something for your mom. I'll shake hands with you, and after I shake hands with you, I'll tell you I'll never teach you anything else again.
Whoa.
Or you could find yourself another way to buy something for your mom. And now, I'm saying this very humbly, now it's at 1,000% on my ROI.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So that's the importance of having a mentor, you know what I mean? So someone who can give you that lens, right? To give you that lens through like better direction, right?
Oh, yeah.
So coming out here, I'm like, okay, hey, let's own some property. Let's do this. I've learned a lot out here as a man and found me a beautiful wife.
Man, I love that. That's so cool. I love that you said that too, because I'm a little bit in that world where, like, obviously I've hired a mentor. I think one thing that hit me was two of the greatest to ever play the game of basketball. We're not talking the GOAT discussion, but like MJ and Kobe are two of the best.
Okay.
Right? Top five, we'll just say, right?
Yeah.
Neither of them won a championship without Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
If two of the best need a coach, we need coaches.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, we might have all this raw talent, but dude, if the two of the greatest need it, like, who are we to say that we don't, right?
Exactly.
And it's so funny because now I'm starting to be on that flip side where I'm starting to help coach, some young individuals that are coming along.
Right.
And it's so funny, dude, because like you said, as a mentor, they don't want the money.
No.
They want raw talent that they can mold, right? And like that's what you saw in you.
Yeah.
And it was not so much like, hey, like pay me, do this, that, and the other. It's like, are you going to be coachable? Because if not, I helped you 3x your money.
Just like
you don't see the vision of 1,000 and like, hey, go ahead and take care of your moms. Like that's cool, but we're done here.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. Tell me then how, because you've been talking a lot about like morals.
Yes.
How big is that in becoming? You talk about Renaissance gentlemen, businessmen. like how important is morals as an entrepreneur? Like how has that set you apart and set you up for success in work?
Yeah. Even going to the entrepreneur world, right? Especially you starting your own business, it's on you, right? And one of the most key things is trust, right? They have to trust you, in order to make a transaction with you, the whole 9 yards. I literally focused so much on that, the trust perspective, because I had business partners at the time, right? That didn't work out. They had some things that their personal life, their morals in their personal life tells me how you're gonna do, like how you're gonna be as a businessman.
Sure.
Right. My grandfather always said, never do business with a man who cheats on his wife. All right. I learned that the hard way I learned that the hard way through somebody. I learned a lot from that guy, and I was like, I can't do that no more. I was like, yo, that's not for me. That's you.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because now you're like guilty by association kind of thing, right? Like you flock with that crowd.
And so just to have this other thing I'm thinking about to run concurrent is your decision, right? Whether you're gonna be trustworthy or not. And it goes back to what my grandfather said, you're born looking like your dad, but you die by looking like your decisions.
Oh,
so, yeah.
I like that, man. Dang, yeah, that's powerful. And it's funny because you and I have traveled. We've done some business, right? We travel across the country. And again, we can keep it humble, but we can still let them know, like,
right.
You're a dapper young gentleman. Like, you look good, right? Yeah. And so one thing that I really respect is that you always got your ring on.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yes.
Like, we travel the country, and, like, we're around elegant crowds.
Yeah.
Right? And
absolutely.
It's like, yo, like, my wife is my world, right? My rock. And so much like what you're saying with, an old business partner, it's like, man, you make this commitment to your spouse. You and I shook hands. If you're willing to tarnish that,
right? How
can I trust you?
Right?
It's like, it's such a different, I don't know, man. That's crazy. Thanks for sharing that. So, tell me then, because you mentioned again, so a lot of followers for the podcast haven't seen like the full length YouTubes and stuff like that. So I had to kind of remember some of our old conversations, and we talked about books. And you told me, what's the first book any entrepreneur should get?
A passport.
A passport.
A passport.
Why is that?
I believe traveling stimulates consciousness. You're aware of what's going on in this world, right? Rather than being a YouTube scholar or a Google scholar. I'm like, hey, go out there, go find out the information for yourself. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like I said, I'd rather go search instead of research. So that's one of the first books like you should definitely invest in, right? And get that thing stamped out. Absolutely. Get out of here, go find out, right? And it works. It works like a charm, Some people can speak multiple languages. Some people understand like foods, culture. It's cool that you can be a chameleon wherever you're at.
Yeah,
you know? Sure. So when you end up building these amazing relationships around the world, like I can go not just here domestically, but I can go overseas and I have a place to stay at. You know what
that's
I'm saying?
Beautiful. That's so powerful, man.
Yeah.
Like, because you'll see a lot of people, like you and I have different upbringings. Like, I'm a member of the church. I was able to serve, a mission for my church. I lived overseas for 2 years, right? So I was able to kind of serve people of another country, right? But you were able to serve under different circumstances.
Exactly.
Like, you were able to travel and meet people overseas. So, like, tell us a little bit of how you're able to kind of shed your skin, right? And like leave your business here and go give your time, because as an entrepreneur, there's one thing that trumps all is time.
Yes.
Right? I can spend $1, I can make $1. I can't, as soon as I spend time, I don't get that back. I'm very intentional with my time.
Yes.
And so for you to take time off, and you've done some cool travels, what's been like a life-changing experience where you were able to travel, and how has that impacted you in your business, you think?
Oh, for sure. So first thing, I had to really make sure my business was scaled in such a way, whereas some people be like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, are you actually an entrepreneur? Because let's say you pass away right now, will your business still move forward?
Yeah.
If not, you're self-employed.
Yep.
Right? So there's a difference between self-employed being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is like your business will still run with or without you here, right? So that's what I had to focus on, was that full-time entrepreneur, okay? Like I said, it's like most of us, we trade our time in for money.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Work the 9 to 5. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but if that's your niche, cool. You know, but for me, I literally employ my fabric, right? It works for me, so it goes counterclockwise. Therefore, I get my time back.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So therefore, I have the time to go travel and be out in places as long as I want. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, and obviously, one of the things to my heart is definitely helping out kids who are less fortunate and stuff like that. So
nice, man. And have you noticed that change the way you treat your clients?
Oh, yeah.
Simply by working with, you said the kids that are less fortunate.
Yeah.
Has that like had a direct impact?
Yeah, because for me, like I said, I felt like I was the wealthiest guy when I realized I didn't have to smile on an empty stomach no more, right? And so when you do that for a kid who doesn't have food or anything like that, and I'm about to go see somebody who's a multi-millionaire, right, or billionaire, right? I'm like, hey, man, I know life is good, but hey, I'm gonna tap you on the shoulder. You should come check this thing out, what I'm doing over here. So I like to collide both worlds. You know what I mean? So, because I believe the biggest currency is network connecting people, money will come.
100%.
100%.
Yeah. And it's funny you said, and thanks for sharing that. It's funny you said that because once, and you and I had talked about this before, when I scaled out, where I struggled in growth in business, I'm like, man, I can't figure something out. There's something wrong. I'm putting in mad hours, bro. Like, why is it not converting? Right. And then finally, for a full year, I told my wife, I'm like, I'm going to shake as many hands as I can.
Oh my gosh, that's so
and I'm
important.
not going to ask a single person for business.
Yeah.
I'm just going to shake hands and introduce. That's it.
Yeah.
And bro, there is so much power in not needing a sale. And I didn't realize it. Yeah. I needed that sale. I needed that sale.
Right.
But I didn't portray that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd meet someone like, hey, it's great to meet you. I see you know this guy, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you do? And they're, oh, sweet, what do you do? Oh, yeah, I just do this, but it is what it is, right? And it's like, who are you looking for? Who can I connect you with?
Yes.
And they're like, this is my ideal client. Actually, I got a guy. You know what? Hey, let me put you guys in a group chat next week. But hey, I gotta get going. Nice to meet you.
Exactly.
And they're like, whoa, what the heck? Like, how come this guy didn't ask me for my business?
Right.
Because they're so used to being sold, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Brad Lee says something. He says, the more hands you shake, the more money you make.
I agree.
Bro, that hit me like hard, right?
I agree.
And it's like a living testament of that. It's like, dude, like everywhere I go, it's just, I just want to shake hands and like get familiar with people and make introductions. Because like you said, the money just comes, right?
It will. Because especially living in today's time is so cool, right? An 8-year-old has more information than Bill Clinton had when he was in office.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
So we look like this wealth of information that's on the internet, we can tap into it. You know what I mean? It's like, they teaching, you can learn courses like from Harvard for free. Most of us want to know this if you were to talk to the right person about it, you know what I mean? Because even having a conversation is currency.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so for me, I end up excelling in my business by living off of 5 A's, right? Attract, acquire, analyze, automate, and act, right? I say that in that order. For example, Instagram, right, is one of the Instagram, Facebook, big platforms, right? They got smart. It's like, hey, if you got 300 some followers or 100,000 followers or 1 million followers, you got to pay us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they got smart. So for me, I end up thinking about like, how can I keep this personal experience going? So with my business and even outside of those platforms, right?
Yeah.
Because I had to focus on inverting my conversion metrics, right? So for me on Instagram, I attracted my audience. I acquired them. Hey, what's your phone number? What's your name? Et cetera, right? I analyzed, like, hey, what do you want? Let me see what styles you have right now. That's in, that's not in, right? And I automate, like, hey, it was good to meet you, et cetera. And then I act more efficiently in my business that way. Because think about it. Let's just say, hey, you and I, Eric, we're going to go fly out to Turks and Caicos, right? And we have to figure out our flight. You're going to call in, and you're going to like, forget this automation. 0, speak to representative. 0, speak to representative.
Yeah.
We still want that human connection, right? So when I send a text message directly to my clients, right, instead of like
generic blast.
Generic blast or like an email, right? Because the email, every time I email you, it's a new thread, right? But that 101, right, actually inverted my conversion because it was 50-50 instead for broadcasting one to many, because my odds of conversion is 1 to many. Yeah. So keeping that personal, intimate relationship, because we're all on our phones. Yeah. If I can text you, because what is it? We check our text messages. There's 98% of us check our text message within 3 minutes.
Jeez.
So if I can get you right there, right, the speed of light, then I'm good. So,
dang. Yeah. Well, you know me, I'm one ring E. Anytime I see Kenneth Boggs, I stop what I'm doing. I gotta get that. Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. It's funny that you said about like our platforms, and I think where you take a successful entrepreneur, it doesn't matter the size, right, of the following. Because people do it for clout. Oh, and I'll look at someone's profile, and I don't even want to get into engagement. Like, come on. But you have this massive following.
Instagram messed that up.
And I'll be looking at your following, and I'll look at your bio, and I'll look at your pictures. Yeah, you have a lot of followers. But what in here tells me that you want my business? Yeah. And does your bio have a call to action?
Exactly.
None. Almost nobody has that. Exactly. Like, if you go look at mine, like I'll have I switch it up. I'll either have like the YouTube link or the podcast link, or I just renovated my website and I want to get some ClickFunnels going, right? Or even schedule a call. Right. And then right above that, like I have an alert, like a call to action. Right. So someone land on my page, it's like, here's what I do, here's who I help, here's how you get a hold of me. Yeah. And then my social proof is in the pictures. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, dude, Instagram is giving us this free platform.
You get what I'm saying?
To do that, right? Yeah. So people are complaining, man, I only get 7% of my people looking at it and liking it. Why do you care?
Right.
Turn your contacts into contracts, my guy. Like, exactly. Why do you care about likes?
Gosh. And I'm like, if you focus on likes one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. Yes. Because I'm like, what you want is that direct contact.
Yes.
Okay. Even if it is just only 7%, hey, you better have that, like those people's personal phone number, right?
They have to be in your phone.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure you want to change your phone number right now, because that becomes a part of your identity.
480. It's actually a good conversation starter. Maybe from Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's a part of your identity.
It is. It is.
So you gotta literally catch on to that whatever identity that they are attached to. You know what I mean? Because by the end of the day, I don't think that, likes and whatever, I'm like, bro, like, is it even converting to sales? Like, that's what I want to know.
It's conversions, man. Yeah. That's so true. Like, if you get 7% of your people following, right? If 7% are viewing your stuff, what percent of that 7 is converting to a client?
Exactly.
If not, they shouldn't be following you. Like, why? Yeah. Why are you in there?
Yeah.
And that's so funny. I was watching this, is a funny story, like a podcast between Brad Lee and Grant Cardone. Okay. And they were talking, and Grant Cardone, this is right before he popped off. He's like, man, I'm going to get all this content all day, every single day. And he's posting like 20 times a day. Yeah. And Brad Lee was his homie. He's like, bro, like, you got to knock it off. Like, it's getting annoying. He's like, then unfollow me because you're not buying anything.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not buying, get off my platform.
Oh, and he's so right. Oh my gosh, he's so right about that. Because here I am in Silicon, slopes, right? Yes. So Silicon Valley.
Yes.
And I'm suiting up, big time guys, right? And I'm noticing like the guys around our age or younger, right, reaching $1 billion valuation mark in their business in 5 to 7 years.
It's crazy.
5 to 7 years.
Yes.
I was like, you got to be kidding me. How did you excel so aggressively? Right? And the thing is data. Yes. That's where it's at, right? Because most of us, like, we don't even have our own like medical records. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, do you have your data, right? And that's the important part, because a wise man told me, he said, KB, I will explain this to you within seconds between a millionaire and a billionaire, right? He said 1 million seconds equals 12 days. 1 billion seconds equals 32 years.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah, and then I'm around guys who are around our age or younger, reaching that in 5 to 7 years. And I'm like, yo, whether it's their business or their personal net worth, right? But I just thought that was so fascinating, but it's tech, it's data, right? So I was like, hey, I needed to know how to speak the language of tech.
Yes.
So for me, I ended up speaking the language of tech in my soup business, so that's how I end up excelling. You
that's interesting. How do you adopt that then? So that's another thing I want to talk about, right? Is COVID happened.
Yes.
A lot of people complained.
Yep.
A lot of victims, and a lot of people who took opportunity and adapted.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, right? And so you're, again, and I say this in this way, it's like you're a suit guy.
Yep.
You tailor suits.
Yep.
How in the world are you going to adopt technology? Right? So how did that happen? Like, where did you invest your time and your money and efforts to blow this up, to now speak the language of these billionaires through tech?
Yeah, so for me, the three, like one of the 2 or 3 most important things is food, shelter, and clothing. So guess what? I got
to own a big market.
I'm on a big market. Whether it's a pandemic for 5 years, y'all still gonna need to wear clothes, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so for me, it's like, hey, like I talk to about 10,000 people on my phone, right? So I use a different platform. So I talk to 10,000 people on my phone. Yeah, I don't text them directly, like all 10,000 people every single time. That's time consuming. But I have an automation and I have a platform, whereas I can send them the video of like, hey, this is the fabric of the month. Hey, during COVID, hey, this is what you want to wear, since that you're not going to wear full pants, suit, but you're going to wear a sports coat and a shirt. Hey, this is what I recommend you to wear, right? So that direct contact with the people that I attracted from Instagram, right?
Well, that's how you and I got linked, was through Instagram.
Exactly.
And I've spoken in other states, and like I've had to like take a video of like what I'm thinking about wearing, and then man, I love when I just get the ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I know I did it, right?
Yeah.
And that's so true. I didn't really think of that. Like I don't even think I know your email. We just text, right?
Exactly.
And it's like it's just such flawless communication, because I know we're both super busy, but like when I go to get on stage, I am your mannequin.
Exactly.
Right?
Because like it's cool that you mentioned that, Eric, because like I said, if you write me an email and I write you an email, it's a new thread every time we text. I mean, every time we write an email, right? But by us texting, it's a living conversation.
Yeah.
Only way that it dies is between somebody pass away, or you block me, or you change your number.
Yeah.
But a text message is a living conversation.
Right.
So I'm like, that's the cool part, right? So like, hey, I could talk to JoJo, like, hey, JoJo, got a suit in here for you, right? It's still a living conversation, right? Yeah. Even if you may go out of town, cool. When you come back, we still living it up. We're going to try this suit on. So it's just something that just doesn't die unless,
So true. I love that, man. A lot of people, I think, are very interested, KB, in... I think your story is very fascinating, right? I mean, let's just say how it is, right? You could have easily fallen victim to that system.
Oh, man.
Where you grew up, right?
Yeah.
And I think,
Jeez,
and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that inspired like this path of going through a career, become a lawyer, go help the family, because we associate lawyers with a lot of money, right?
Right.
And then I think, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, because we've had this conversation before, and then you're like, man, the suits, bro, like, that's just where I'm passionate, and I'm good with people, right? And so I think a lot of people want to know, like, how did you overcome that? Like, was it something mentally? Was it a mentor? Was it physical, financial? Like, what happened to where you're like, bro, I am not a victim. I'm going to change my trajectory, and like explain that a little bit, and like how someone who could relate.
It's one of those things, a smart man learn from his mistakes, but a wise man learn from others. So growing up, I didn't have a mentor. I just had people I didn't want to be like.
Sure.
So that experience, just by me watching people, I'm like, yo, nah, I don't think that's a good move on me, right? And then, to be honest with you, I barely made it through the cracks, right? Yeah, I had to deal with, man, when I got out of school, fist fights and all that stuff, just cause. Like, cause it's a, it's a great saying. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes you wonder how I keep from going under, right?
Yeah.
But
and you're a dog, so
so you
gotta let it out sometimes.
So that's where I grew up at, and I've seen my mother, right? She's an amazing woman. I saw the things that she went through, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to break this generational curse. Like, that was my drive. So track and field for me, that's how I ended up out here, because that's one of the closest metaphor of life, right? Yeah. You run counterclockwise because you run against time, right? You have lanes in track and field, right? You got to have tunnel vision, right? I ran the hurdles. That's what I specialize in. So I have to go through so many obstacles in life. So it's just something that was instilled in my mind I'm like, man, I got to run up out of here. But I did sacrifice, you know, like I sacrificed. I told my mom and my siblings, our house ended up burning down, right? My senior year, right? As I'm going off to college. So I'm going off to college. It was I stay home and back up groceries at Food for Less and wouldn't know what the hell I was gonna do with my life, or Mom, just give me about 10 years and I'll figure this out. And you know, they say an overnight success takes about 10 years, and I reached that 10-year mark. So now I get to move my mom and them out here. You know what I mean?
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
that's beautiful. Man.
So it's just because most people don't. Like I said, man, it's just this decision making for me. I just didn't want to be like everybody else, you know, that I saw that weren't up to no good.
Man, I love that, KB. Thanks for sharing that. A couple things I wanted to hit on that is when you're running, right? You said you have that tunnel vision, especially in hurdles. I don't like thinking about the 100-yard dash, right? Yeah. I like thinking about hurdles because I remember I did track in high school, and it's like it was down to a science. It was 1, 2, 3 jump, 1, 2, 3, right? Yep. And each off foot. And so, did you ever look at the hurdles, or did you always look at the finish?
I never even realized the hurdles.
You don't even realize the hurdles are there, right?
No.
Dude, that's the same thing I think for all of our business owners watching is hurdles are a part of it.
Yeah.
There's ups and downs.
Exactly.
A lot of downs, probably more downs than ups.
Facts. Absolutely.
Right? Lonely nights, long nights that we don't talk about. They see the fancy stuff, the fun stuff, the vacations once a month.
Right.
But what about the other 30 days, bro? Like the panic attacks, the stress attacks. Like you feel lonely, right? But you don't focus on them.
No.
Because where attention goes, energy flows. Like if you're focused on the finish, right? Because losers focus on winners. What if winners focus on?
Winners.
That's it. Plain and simple. We just want to win. You see the finish line, that's where you're going.
Right.
So that's really cool, man. Thanks for sharing that. So I want to know, like, through these obstacles, and that's where I wanted to go with the second thing was your why was bigger than your problems. So what do you have to say to people who are starting a business and the importance of like a deep-rooted why? Because money can't be your why. If you're in business for money, you're going to fail 10 out of 10.
Oh, man.
So talk to us about like that. Like you want to get your family out of here and break that cycle.
Yeah.
How important is that deep-rooted, 10 years?
Yeah.
Going to school?
It was
knowing what you're doing?
No. Yeah.
What got you through it?
The why, man, focus on the why, because like when you hit rock bottom, right, when you realize you have your why and you have your passion, you can't think of anything else but what you're passionate about. So focus on that. But if you hit rock bottom and you realize your why end up changing, then that wasn't your why. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was your Z. You know, so you know what I mean? So why I think it's important to get a mentor, because help you out with guidance, right? If you're that single mother, right, with kids, okay, cool. Find that young man or that young woman a mentor, right? If you don't have either mother or father around, hey, guess what? Go find yourself another mentor somewhere. But you know, people need people. Yeah. We need to be around people. So if you think about the money, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. Right? It's gonna be hard because for me, like I said, I know how cliche this may sound, but I'm not motivated. I'm passionate about this. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I don't need to wake up and get motivated to go work out. No. Like I said, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over, hope to get different results. I do the same thing over and over so I get the same results.
Yeah, why change it, right?
So that's my why. Why would I do that? You know what I mean? And so that's what I like to focus on, and just continuing like my passion.
I love that. I think you have an athlete's mentality, and it shows that you ran track and stuff, and like you apply that here, right? And you talk about passion, like it is like to be. David Goggins said, "You want to be the baddest mother effer at what you do."
Oh yeah.
People aren't going to understand you. You have to explain yourself. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're so passionate to the details, right? Because you talk about this motivation, and people ask me all the time, say, Eric, like, how are you so motivated? Like, I love that about you. I'm like, I'm not. I'm disciplined. And there's a job that's got to be done, and you do it, right? And so I've told a lot of people, I'm like, man, if you need motivation, this ain't for you.
It's not.
Right? Because those who aren't driven aren't worth driving. I'm not going to waste my time to teach you and like fire you up every day. Like, you got to be a self-starter. And if you're not, like, this just isn't for you, right?
Yeah, because that part is very, very important as well. I love, oh my gosh, I love that you said that. Because by the end of the day, you said you got to be a self-starter. You got to be within you, right? To focus on the why, focus on the mentorship is one, you need accountability, responsibility, and understand the laws of consequence.
Absolutely.
Okay? You follow those three things, you'll be all right. You know what I mean? Because you need people to hold you accountable. Right?
Have to, man.
You know what I mean?
Even personal trainers got personal trainers.
Exactly, right? Last time I checked, Floyd Mayweather still got a trainer.
Bro, come on. Yes.
So boxers need trainers and basketball players need coaches. Like, it is what it is. There's no way that you can do this by yourself. It's because we got so much ego, and we gotta surmount that. You know what I mean? Like, we can't just think that we can do it all by ourselves. Because, like I said, most people when they start off, you know, saying, "Hey, I'm an entrepreneur, CEO," you end up becoming the chief everything officer instead of the chief executive officer.
Yes.
You got to know how this goes. You know what I mean?
You have to be able to delegate.
Yes.
You have to have a team around you.
You have to.
I think that's a big thing. So, and then I know we're kind of on the latter part of this interview. So I want to talk about scaling, because you've scaled really well. Mm-hmm. I know you got some hush-hush stuff that you're going to be opening up soon that we don't need to drop yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon, right? But talk to me a little bit about struggles that you've learned. Like, I want to be able to help people not waste money in the growth pattern. Like, I do think it's important to waste some money. You need to have some losses. You have to have losses. That's how you learn, right? But how can you help us shorten the learning curve in the growth pattern, right? You talk about these gentlemen that they're hitting billion status in 5-7 years.
Jeez.
How, like, not to say that all of our business will be those $1 billion, right? But how can we max our potential in a shorter time frame? Like, what have you noticed and what have you adopted to help you do that?
Being around people, going back to that again, I know how simple that sounds, because like I said, the biggest currency is networking, connecting people, right? So I'm like, hey, how can I get myself out there, right? Because we can only be behind a computer for so long. You know what I mean? For me, I realized I was gonna lose my mind if I just sit in front of this computer. Then I gotta wear certain glasses so my eyes won't hurt. You know what I mean?
doing it.
You know? But as far as like scaling, it's like, hey, bro, there's so many, like I said, there's so much information out there, whereas you can learn whatever business you're in. Mm-hmm. If it's clothing, if it's tech, if it's shoes, if it's athleisure, they have a YouTube channel for every single thing, right, that you can learn from, right? Tap into that, right? Reach out to the person, right? Not just reach out to them, hey, go and travel and go shake hands with the person. If you can afford it, if that person's in town, go shake hands with that person and buy you a ticket, right? You got to risk, you got to sacrifice, right? It's like, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to take to get to that next level? Because like I said, like even when I was with you, you know, at the Super Bowl party, we had a great time. But you and I still had that in our blood, right? Mm-hmm. Our wives was there with us.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, honey, we're going to be right back. But even like you and I, we still separated.
Yeah.
And then we came back.
That's so funny,
So we still understand, like, hey, we still out here doing this, still connecting with the right people.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, totally, man. Oh, my gosh. I think that's been my biggest takeaway in that growth pattern. It truly has been having a team, like a circle. Bro, throw away your friends.
Man.
Lose the friends. Get a circle.
Man.
I can't tell you how powerful that is, right? And I was thinking of something is, like, I consider you family on a different scale because blood, they're around you because they gotta.
Yes.
You were born into it. And they can claim that blood thicker than water kind of stuff, right? But you're going to have a lot turn on you. A lot that don't understand you. A lot that'll badmouth you.
Man.
It'll happen.
Man.
Right?
I love that you said that part because literally one of the deepest things, man, is protect me from my loved ones, enemies I can handle.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And I've found that, man, like family and friends, like it sucks. It's a hard part. That's why when I talk about like that journey, man, is very lonely because it'll happen.
Yeah.
But I've been in Utah for 2 years now, right? And you and I met maybe a year ago, if that.
I don't think it's been a year.
And in August, just before August, right? And so, and I consider you like one of the closer people in my life because we chose each other. We chose to be loyal. Yeah. We like blood didn't bond us, right? And so I think finding that unique circle of strength and power, similar values, that's what's going to take you to the next level, right? Absolutely. Like I think your hometown is your biggest anchor.
Yeah.
Right? You have to cut free. And I know a lot of people might take some backlash to that, like, you know, but I've come to find that, man, like people you grow up with, they don't like to see you grow.
It hurts.
To outgrow it, right?
It hurts, right.
You still got a ton of love for them. Bro, like 2 a.m, I don't care. A friend calls me, I'll wake up, I'll do what, like in the moment, I won't even ask a question and I got you. Doesn't mean you get all my time and energy. That's my circle.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I love being around you. I love having these conversations, this banter, because I leave feeling elevated. Like you helped me a lot, and right, and like I want to like give each other energy. I don't want to be hearing about your bad day every single day.
Right.
Get your therapist, get your coach. We need to add value. We need to have this circle, right? We need to be talking about stocks, real estate, growth, relationships. Like we need to grow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So. Anyway, I really want to thank you so much for your time, man. I think this was super beneficial for everybody that has followed along. Again, lastly, so for everyone here, I want to create a really cool network where even through the lens, we can help each other out and continue to grow, right? So for you taught me a married man can never have too much money.
No, man, not at all.
And so I know you're killing it, right? But who is your ideal client? If anybody through here could help out, if I could help out, what's a connection that you would most value?
Connection I would most value is a man who's a gentleman warrior that carries himself a certain way, like runs a successful business and understanding the balance of life.
Gotcha.
So if that's my ideal client as far as like, it doesn't matter how much money he has, right, high or low. If you're somebody who's a peaceful man, right? That's my ideal client, because by the end of the day, I like to curate a brotherhood, right? So it's like, hey, if you end up buying a suit from me, hey, you got a dope suit, I'm gonna text you, meet me at these events. I'd love to see you there, right? Because I want you to shake hands with every people that I know, because I like you as a person, right? Come shake hands with people that I know, and hopefully y'all can do business with each other. That's the goal. But if you come there and you didn't get a number from some of my clients, man, you wasted your time.
That's on you. Oh, I love that, man. Yeah. Well, thanks, KB. I appreciate you. No problem, for anybody involved, Kenneth Boggs out here in Provo, Utah, travels the country, so wherever you need to be, he'll get you right. Thank you again. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate it,
if you guys have follow-up questions or anything, DM me, give us a follow, and I'll also have your Instagram linked in the bottom so everyone can keep following your journey.
Make it happen,
I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
you, brother.
Thank you.
All right.